Salamangreat was already on the rise with the new October 2019 Forbidden List, but the new Chaos Impact set elevates the deck a step further, being able to destroy all of your opponent's cards with the new Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix, or being able to link summon on your opponent's turn with the new IP Masquerena. This deck is a force to be reckoned with. In this profile, we're not only going to be going over an in-depth analysis on the strategy, I'll also be sharing with you guys some combo tutorials as well as some budget options. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, then make sure you destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, go hit that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. I also want to give a special thanks to every single one of my Patreons. Without you guys, videos like this would not be possible. And just a heads up, all my Patreons of a certain tier and higher can see deck profiles like this before they even go live. So without further ado, I present to you a competitive Salamangreat deck profile for the October 2019 format. Looking at the Salamangreat deck profile, for the monsters, we run 3 copies of Salamangreat Foxy. You guys already know what this card does, allowing you to excavate and potentially get a free solid card from your deck to your hand. But its graveyard effect is actually just as important, allowing you to destroy critical field spell cards like your opponent's Salamangreat Sanctuary, but in the Orcus matchup, being able to destroy their Babel, and the list goes on, is just extremely important, and it can summon itself to the side of the field. 3 copies of Salamangreat Spinny. This card is just this card's an amazing extender, being able to bring it back to your side of the field to follow up with Link or Exceed plays. And 2 copies of Jag Jaguar. Seeing a copy of Jag Jaguar in your hand is actually a really good feeling, especially when you have a card like Flame Buffalo or Cynet Mining, because that means you don't have to dedicate resources to spell summoning Jag Jaguar from your deck to your side of the field or sending it to the graveyard. Next is 1 copy of Salamangreat Gazelle, 1 copy of Salamangreat Foxy and Falco. Gazelle's limited to 1, but Foxy and Falco provide an extra summon or an extra resource back to your side of the field. And that's it for the Salamangreat monsters. Moving on up, our generic Cyberse monsters, we do play 3 copies of Flame Buffalo. I actually wanted to play 1 copy of Lady Debug because Lady Debug is a 1-card OTK. I don't necessarily play the 1-card OTK. I think that there are better options currently right now, and I don't want to test, but Flame Buffalo is amazing because it allows you to discard a Cyberse monster to dig deeper into your deck. So all those extra combo pieces or all those cards you want to the graveyard, that because they have great graveyard effects, Flame Buffalo not only gets you better or deeper into the cards that you need, but it also gets some of those cards into the graveyard. 2 copies of Sea Archiver. Sea Archiver is amazing in this deck because you're always going to be spell summoning to where a link arrow points to. It provides an extra resource to be able to link off with or even exceed summon with. That's it for the generic Cyberse monsters. For the hand traps, we run 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, I normally say Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring just isn't a great card, but in this particular deck, you can keep recycling Ash Blossom back to your hand, so it makes it worth it. Now, I know you guys keep saying, CaliEffect, you're out of your mind, Ash Blossom's amazing, but there are so many decks that can just play around that 1 disruption. The only reason the saving grace for this card in this deck is that it is recurable. 3 copies of Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. Now, I know you guys are thinking, CaliEffect, where is the budget option for this? Well, there's no card that can necessarily replicate Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, but there is cards like DD Crow that will help you in this format, really powerful. Or even running spell cards like Enemy Controller to be able to snatch your opponent's monster, preventing them from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! There's so many other alternatives to Thanos, but Thanos is a good card on his own right because he does allow you to mix and match your hand, especially since the Sky Striker hit, just overall hits to interruption cards. Thanos is really going to shine because that disruption effect can be really cool. Next is 2 copies of Nibiru. This is the last of our hand traps. Moving just away from cards like Ash Blossom and Ghost Ogre, whatever, Nibiru is amazing because it actually does wipe an opponent's entire strategy and forces them to start over in certain situations. Now, the card isn't amazing in every single matchup, but sometimes it's a small price to pay for salvation. That is it for the hand traps and the monsters at 24. For the spells, we run 3 copies of Will of the Salamangreat. You guys remember when people were saying I was crazy because I was running 2 copies of Will of the Salamangreat? Yeah, well, we're running 3 now. This card allows you to special summon a Salamangreat monster to your side of the field as a monster reborn as an extra extender. It helps you when you get Nibiru'd. You can use this card in conjunction with other cards to continue on with your combo. But if you do send it to the graveyard for its second effect, you can send it and special summon 4 Salamangreat monsters to your side of the field if you control a Pyro Phoenix. Next is 1 copy of Salamangreat Sanctuary for the Balinks and 1 copy of Salamangreat Circle. It's limited to 1. It's your reinforcement army. 3 copies of Cynet Mining, and here we get to another really expensive card in this deck. Now, for the budget options, I would strongly recommend Cynet Backdoor, which is a card that allows you to banish Cyberse monsters to add cards. And Cynet Backdoor is actually a really good card because if your opponent is trying to Nibiru you or trying to negate you, you can Cynet Backdoor, banish your monster, resolve your monster's effect, and search another Cyberse card. So it's not just a budget option, it's a solid option to have. Next is 2 copies of Pot of Desires. I strongly think Desires should be in this deck. The only card that you really want to like bother banishing is Jaguar, which we already played 2 for that particular situation, and Salamangreat Gazelle, which this deck can actually still win without Gazelle. So Pot of Desires after that is just 2 free cards, and it's really hard to ignore. 1 copy of Foolish Burial. I don't see a lot of Salamangreat players playing this, but it is an extender in the right terms. It sends cards like Sea Archiver or your Salamangreat Spinny to the graveyard to help you start off with your combos if you are in a dead hand, and then Monster Reborn as another extender. I think that this card should definitely be paid because of Nibiru and interruptions. It allows you to play through those interruptions. So that is it for the spells at 12. For the traps, we run 2 copies of Salamangreat Roar and 2 copies of Salamangreat Rage. Now, I run 2 and 2 because opening these cards is just, it's always amazing. You don't want to open 2 of one card, even though like it's still very manageable. But opening one of those cards just means that your Gazelle can be used for other resources depending on the rest of your hand. It's just completely amazing. And of course, we have Pot of Desire. So there's a huge odds that we'll banish 1 or 2 with the effect of Desire. So these cards are amazing. I think that I would run 2 and 2 no matter what. But that is it for the main board. The traps at 4. For the extra deck, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start off with 2 copies of Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix. Now, Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix is a little expensive for its price currently. If you guys are looking for more budget options, you can play cards like Transcode Talker and the Update Jammer, which is the OTK for this deck. It is a 1-card OTK. And then the next thing is you can just play other Link monsters. Unfortunately, I'm cut for space, so I have to run 2 Balinks, but I would play a 3rd Balinks if I had the room. This card allows you to destroy all cards your opponent controls, and it's really good for board break. I do run 1 copy of Mechanite Crusader Avermax. You can make this guy non-targetable, can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and then he attacks your opponent's special summon monsters. They get destroyed because he'll win every special summon monster. But if your opponent so happens to get rid of this card, you can get rid of this card on your opponent's side of the field. It becomes Blackluster Soldier on drugs. This card is just amazing. I feel like you have to play it. 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn for the disruption on our opponent's turn with IP Masquerena. 2 copies of Salamangreat Heat Leo. 3 copies of Sunlight Wolf. Those are just standard Salamangreat cards. And then the IP Masquerena is just amazing because it does allow you to link summon on your opponent's turn, meaning that you can hit into cards like your Unicorn, your Avermax, or even your Nightmare Phoenix for disruptions or just a huge body on board. So the theory behind IP Masquerena is that you link summon under the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, and then after you've gained the effects of your trap cards, well, Sunlight Wolf isn't as useful, so you can just use IP Masquerena and your Sunlight Wolf for an additional link. So of course we run the Nightmare Phoenix, the Heat, coming with that straight fire, and 2 copies of Salamangreat Balinks. I finish up the extra deck with 1 copy of Mirage Stalio, and I really feel like this deck is extremely powerful. Mirage Stalio is just a really good card. Some people do swear by 2. I was one of those people that did swear by 2 copies of this card, but ultimately I dropped it down to 1 because of space. I feel like the extra deck could be tested around a little bit, could be played around. Probably might wind up even dropping the Pyro Phoenix depending on how I feel, but currently we're running it. That's it for the main board and the extra deck. Now I can show you guys some of these combos. Alright guys, so I figured that the best way to tutor you guys on these Salamangreat combos is via test hand. Normally I would put these on Patreon, so any other given deck, when you guys see the deck profile, The test hands are on Patreon, and also be sure to remember that if you guys are a Patreon, you can see profiles early. Starting off with our first test hand, we are going to open Pot of Desires, Salamangreat Roar, Flame Buffalo, Nibiru, and Sea Archiver. Now, normally you want to wait until the latest to activate Pot of Desires because we don't want to banish cards like Salamangreat Gazelle or our 2 copies of Jack Jaguar, but in this particular hand sequence, you guys have 2 options. You can risk it for the biscuit, use the Flame Buffalo, and hope to draw an appropriate Cyberse monster and extender, or you can just start off with the Pot of Desires, which that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Just putting my money where my mouth is and going for the gold, showing you guys how much Pot of Desires does not matter. So we're gonna banish 10 cards from our decks, and it's just so happened to be Wikes. We're gonna lose 2 Salamangreat Spinny, but other than that, I mean, it really don't matter. We're gonna draw our 2 cards, what happens to be an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and our 3rd Salamangreat Spinny. So that's always nice to know that we are still in the game, actually a little bit deeper, as now I'm gonna go ahead and normal summon my Flame Buffalo and then immediately use it for a link into my Salad Baylinks, activating the effect of Flame Buffalo. We're gonna go ahead and send Sea Archiver. Actually, I'm gonna set the Salamangreat Spinny because I could draw the Gazelle. And we're also gonna use the effect of Baylinks to add from our decks to our hand. Where is that card? Our Salamangreat Sanctuary. So Chainlink 2 is Baylink, Chainlink 1 is our Flame Buffalo. So we went ahead and we added the Sanctuary. We'll be able to draw an additional 2, which is Rage, 2 copies of Rage. Not necessarily the best, but still not bad. We'll special summon our Salamangreat Spinny to our side of the field, triggering the effect of our Sea Archiver since a monster was special summoned to a Link Arrow. And then we'll go ahead and use these 2 monsters for an Exceed summon into our Salamangreat Mirage Stalio. Stalio detaching the Salamangreat Spinny. We'll be able to special summon our Salamangreat Gazelle to our side of the field, this time around using the effect of Salamangreat Gazelle to send the Jack Jaguar. We already have Rages and, oh, let me show you this hand. We already have Rages and Roars, so we're pretty much set here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to use our Salamangreat Baylinks and our Gazelle for a link summon into our Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. And then we're gonna go ahead and turn our Sunlight Wolf number 1 into activate the Sanctuary. Turn Wolf number 1 into Wolf number 2. Use the effect, actually you don't even have to turn Wolf, actually you do for your Aegis. Use the effect of your Salamangreat Jack Jaguar, return to summon, then trigger the effect of your Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, add your Jack Jaguar back to your side of the field, and then you're gonna use these 2 monsters for your last link into your IP Masquerena. And next, you can set 2 to 3 cards face down. Now, you won't be able to use Roar 2 times in 1 turn because you can only activate Roar once per turn, so you actually can keep it in your hand for the discard if you guys do go into your Nightmare. This is pretty good on our first test hand, ladies and gentlemen. We got the IP combo, so we are able to have 2 disruptions as well as being able to use IP to link both of these 2 guys off, which means we can special summon an indestructible Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax, or we can go into our Nightmare Unicorn for an extra sort of disruption, and not to mention that we have Nibiru and Ash Blossom in our hand. Salamangreats are too strong. So let's go ahead and move on to test hand, excuse me, test hand number 2. That was an amazing hand, ladies and gentlemen. That was quite good. I don't think anybody can argue with those type of results. So going into number 2, let me put these cards back up. We're gonna open up Salamangreat Rage, Salamangreat Circle, Flame Buffalo, Jack Jaguar, and the Salamangreat Foul. So we're gonna immediately use our Salamangreat Circle. That will allow us to add our Salamangreat Gazelle to our hand. And now we'll normal summon our Buffalo. Buffalo immediately to a link for our Baylinks. You guys already know the chain order. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my Salamangreat Sanctuary. And next, I'm actually gonna discard the Jack Jaguar. to draw 2 additional cards. Oh, sweet, we're in there. The odds of drawing these 2 have been exponentially increased because we play more copies of those cards. We'll also be able to special summon, excuse me, our Salamangreat Gazelle to our side of the field, trigger the effect of our Gazelle. This time around, I'm gonna go ahead and send Whittle of the Salamangreats. We already have Rage and Roar in our graveyard. I can't think of another monster. I mean, I guess I could send Spinny. Do I need to? So no, we're actually gonna go ahead and send Salamangreat Spinny from our decks to the graveyard. And now since we control Salamangreat monsters, we're gonna special summon the Spinny. These 2 monsters for the Exceed summon into our Mirage Stallion. Detaching the Gazelle to special summon a monster to our side of the field. If I had another level 3, no, we're good. We'll special summon the Salamangreat Falco. Here's where Abyss Dweller players would be like really happy right now because they'll be able to do quite a few shenanigans. Since we did special summon a monster, we can special summon our Salamangreat Fowl. From there, we can use the Baylynx and the Falco for a link. We'll link into our Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. I'm confident that our Salamangreat Falco uses its effect, and it allows us to set the circle back to our side of the field. Next, we will be able to activate the effect of our Salamangreat Sanctuary. We'll turn Sunlight Wolf into Sunlight Wolf number 2. And then we will use the effect of Jack Jaguar. We'll return that to special summon. The effect of our Sunlight Wolf triggers. We'll add Gazelle. And normally you guys would make an Abyss Dweller under here, but you guys should already know what will be my card of choice. We're gonna link these 2 off into our IP Masquerena, and we essentially got the exact same board, except we get a Salamangreat Circle in our hand, and we always have our panic button, which is the Nibiru. So test hand number 3 in our last test hand. I think I'm gonna dedicate this last test hand into going second, just because I've showed you guys that this deck can pretty much consistently get what it wants. On to test hand numero 3. Hopefully we get another great hand just to showcase how powerful this deck can be. I'm still decided. I guess we'll look at the hand and we'll see, you know, depending on what we have, like what would be the better, going first, going second. So Thanos, Foxy, Sea Archiver, Foxy, and a Spinny. We have full Salamangreat combo and a Thanos, so we'll be able to draw at least 2 additional cards and have a Thanos to our side of the field. Let's say they still open with a subpar hand, just for, you know, all intents and purposes. We don't really know what they're playing, so we can't really have a workaround. We're gonna say we have Thanos on our side of the field and we win second, and they just didn't open up with the board that they wanted to because you guys are subscribed to the TheCaliEffect. No, I'm just playing, but seriously, going into our first game, we are just gonna go ahead and normal summon the Salamangreat Foxy, and then Foxy effect will reveal Desires, Buffalo, and Buffalo. So we won't get anything off of that particular, that particular Salamangreat Foxy, but it's okay. We'll go ahead and follow up by using the Salamangreat Foxy into a link summon into our Baylynx. Baylynx effect will add from our decks to our hand, of course, our Salamangreat Sanctuary. And now we can discard Spinny, special summon Spinny, and then special summon Sea Archiver. Using both of these monsters for a link summon into our Mirage Stallion. Stallion detaching the Salamangreat Spinny to special summon Salamangreat Gazelle to our side of the field. And now Salamangreat Gazelle is going to use its effect to send Jack Jaguar from our decks to our graveyard. Now, since we have all of our resources out of our deck that we could possibly lose with Desires and Cry, we're going to go ahead and activate that Pot of Desires. We're going to banish Cynet Mining, Will of the Salamangreat, Nibiru, Will of the Salamangreat, Salamangreat Fowl, Will of the Salamangreat, Ash Blossom, Thanos, Circle, and Spinny. We're gonna draw Aurora and another Spinny. So we're still in pretty good hands. It does suck that we banished all 3 Will of the Salamangreat, but we drew the Salamangreat Roar, which is just another form of disruption. Now, if I really wanted to go big and bad, ladies and gentlemen, I actually do have access to my huge Salamangreat monster, and I'll be able to show you guys how. So I'm gonna go ahead and link off the Baylynx and the Gazelle. into our Sunlight Wolf, and then we'll Sanctuary our Sunlight Wolf. We don't really have, no, we don't even need the Sanctuary Sunlight Wolf. We'll just summon Sunlight Wolf. My apologies. We'll use the effect of Jack Jaguar. We'll return the Balinks. We'll special summon the Jack Jaguar, trigger the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. Ooh, not the Spinny. We'll add the Salamangreat Gazelle this time around. And as you guys can see, we can just go ahead and use all 4 of these monsters for the summon of our Proxy Pyro Phoenix, and then turn it into the next Pyro Phoenix, destroying all cards on their side of the field, and we'll be able to swing for a huge amount of damage. The best thing about this is if we did open more Salamangreat cards, like if we open Salamangreat or Rage instead of in the Roar, we'd be able to destroy up to 4 cards our opponent controls, because Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix is a link 4. But I'll just go ahead and take the Salamangreat Roar for the negation and a ton of damage, as well as still 4 cards in our hand to still be able to play with. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like, and if you really did, consider joining our Patreon. We have so many awesome rewards. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day, like I am.